Hello everyone, welcome back to another video we are doing here, and Max and I wanted to put together a quick video. This goes for racers, bashers alike.
Yeah.
Just kind of a video of things to look over between races, or if you're just at home wrenching.
After you get done driving or bashing.
Yeah, so we brought in our 8E that we had in the snow.
Yeah, so if you saw the recent Max the Intern video.
On the lake.
Yeah, we took it out on the lake. We bashed it all in the snow. If you can see up close here, there's a little bit of rust starting to form on some of the nuts, and the wheel nuts are getting a little rusted. So my first suggestion would be, if you go out play in any type of water with your RC car, definitely get a toothbrush, spray some type of lubricant, whether that's like WD-40 or liquid wrench, and put it on a toothbrush and kind of just rub the rust off with the toothbrush. Get all your metal, steel lubricated, all your screws, because this aggravates me a ton. If I were to go work on this car right now and I go under the chassis here, you can tell that under the chassis there's a little bit, there's some rust in the bolts, and I'll go to turn those with the wrench and they'll strip right out because they're rusted. So usually I'll go through and lubricate everything just so I don't strip any of my screws out.
One of the big ones that I always tell people to pay attention to is the hinge pins, because so much stuff can get trapped in these hinge pins, both here and outside by your wheel, front and back. It's just like a spot where it's so important for it to pivot good and for the arms to move good, and as soon as you have rust and dirt in there, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So that's a good one to take out and just lube it up, put them right back.
Yep. I'm sure everyone's done this. For the RTR guys, you guys don't change tires a lot, but your wheel nuts do loosen. So if you get an RTR, it comes with a wheel nut wrench. You give those wheel nuts a good tighten, make sure they're nice and tight before you go run. Your wheel nut doesn't go flying off and you don't lose a wheel.
Yeah, it happens.
That happens to me all the time.
To the best of us.
That happens to me all the time.
Just, that's even good to do just if you're bored and you're sitting there just staring at your car.
Yeah.
Do it real quick.
Yep.
Just don't even think about it, just do it.
Same goes for your shock bolts on the shock tower. Make sure those are always tight. Those can loosen up really easily. Yeah.
Yeah, and simple things, just looking over your car is important. There's been a lot of times where I'm talking to people in the pits, and I'll just grab their car, like kind of we always do, and start looking at stuff, and you'll see like a ball stud like barely threaded, or you know,
the screw's sticking halfway out or something like that.
And I mean, your turnbuckles should kind of freely, you can't really see it from that angle, but kind of freely wiggle. Your shocks should have some movement.
Play, yeah. Everything that moves on the car, you want to wiggle a little bit.
That being said, also take a quick moment and just kind of wiggle your arms front and back. Rear hubs get loose. Just a little bit of movement's okay. A lot of movement means something's about to happen.
You don't want it. You don't want it moving an inch or an inch and a half.
Yeah, you want to be able to adjust the stuff at the bench, not have it adjust itself out on the track. So, aside from that, I mean, just shock maintenance is another big one, and this even goes for the bashers. I know I used to be notoriously bad of, I didn't touch the shocks until I needed something, until I started racing. And then it's amazing how quickly the oil will degrade, especially if you're really using it in nasty conditions like snow or mud.
For sure, snow.
It just, everything degrades, and even just a quick oil change and just look everything over. Play with the shafts. I've found on my 8-scale car where, I don't know when it happened, but I was going through my shocks and one of them was bent. So I'd push the shock in with the cap off, no fluid, and it would just stick. Yeah. It's not going to rebound if there's no fluid, but it would just stick. There'd be nothing. You could let go.
The shaft was bent.
Yeah, and they can be bent just a very little bit, and it's going to affect the car. So little things like that.
Diff oils, you don't have to change those too often. Depending on how much you, like me, for my race car, I usually go through it every 2 weeks. But I'm racing every weekend, every 3 races every 2 weeks probably. So I'll rebuild those, but diff fluids you don't have to do too often, maybe 3 times a year, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
more than
that's a lot of things like that a lot of us will go through before a big race or something. Or while something else is apart, if we're cleaning it, just do it type deal. And you know, that's a good time to look at your diff gaskets.
And it'll definitely save your diff gears. If you're worried, if you're running 3S on a 10-scale car and your diffs, your cooking, you're laying on the throttle super hard, you want to change those diff fluids quite often because you're going to go through them a lot quicker.
That also goes for like slipper pads as well.
Yeah.
They may look okay, but if they're not new, if they're looking brown or burnt up,
they get worn down.
Yeah, just swap them.
We'll have videos explaining all this, how to change shock oils, how to change diff oils.
Yeah, we wanted to give you guys just a quick overview. And the biggest thing is just look at your car. Yeah. It sounds kind of trivial, but you won't believe what you actually found just by like taking your car and like holding it up against a wall or just kind of getting a visual of it straight ahead. You'll all of a sudden be like, well, that looks a little off, cockeyed or a little crooked. That's a good way to find stuff. And looking at your car, you know, front to back, looking if something's kicked in or. Yeah. And another thing, this we can't really show it on this, but all your turnbuckles should be the same length.
I was just about to say, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. So you should never adjust your steering with the turnbuckle adjustment here. This, obviously, like I said, we can't really show.
Yeah, this is an RTR.
But they should be the same length from left to right. If they're not, something's probably wrong or your setup's going to be goofed up. Yeah. So that's a good thing to just take off both sides on occasion and kind of match them up, make sure they're the same.
And on our website and manuals, we have base lengths of what your turnbuckles should be. So on like all the TLR vehicles in the manual, they'll give you an exact length that your turnbuckles need to be, and they should be around there or the same.
Right, unless
on
you've
every
added a degree of camber or toe or something of that nature. But that's another big one that I see, and it happens. I mean, you might smack a pipe or whatever, or if you're bashing, run into a tree or something, and it just pushes that ball stud a little bit in the turnbuckle, and you don't notice it because nothing broke. But now
it's turning a little weird. Yeah, you're pulling to the left or to the right. Yeah.
Yeah. So just again, just kind of look things over. That's the big thing.
Another big one that I noticed here is that we go bashing and we crash. We hit a lot of stuff, and
you crash. I don't crash.
Okay, thanks, Kyle. The receiver plugs will pull out just a little bit, and you're gonna get like it's gonna be connected, but it won't be connected. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like an intermittent.
Yeah. So you're gonna want to make sure your receiver plugs are plugged in. Check your wires. Make sure there's no cuts in the wires.
Yeah, wires, connectors is a good one.
Yeah, especially battery leads. You want to make sure your solders are still nice and tight. The dynamite motor leads, how they're plug-ins, you want to make sure they're plugged in, not pulled out a little bit.
Another big one for racers is sensor wires. That's probably 90% of the problems people have with a censored motor is because one of the, I don't know how many wires it is, has pulled out of a connector in a crash or just from stress back and forth, and it will screw up the way your car drives.
My car won't accelerate, because your sensor wire's not plugged in.
Yeah, and it seems kind of trivial, and again, it's hard to see, but just look it over.
Even I've made that mistake with like our TLR vehicles. We have the Orion speed controls. So you have a program box, and you have to plug it into the sensor wire port to program the ESC, and I just forget to plug the sensor wire back in.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Good. And you never notice until you get on the tracks.
And then I think the last thing is your battery. So typically, for us that race, our races are very regimented how long we go.
5 to 6 minutes.
So typically after we do a race, our battery is already very close to being like in what we would call storage mode. So most of us will just leave the battery as it is, and then the next time we go to race, charge it up. But if you're bashing and you're running way down to like low voltage, or say
it hits the LiPo cutoff or the low voltage cutoff,
or maybe you charge a battery, went out for a minute, and you had to go.
Yeah.
Make sure you get that battery up to that storage number, and your charger will be able to do that either up or down.
Yeah. And storage mode's like 3.8 volts per cell, I believe is what it is. So around there.
You just don't want the battery sitting too terribly full, obviously, or too low. Full is probably worse, in my opinion. Too low, if you start it with it right where it cut off, then it's going to get too low for your charger. But when it's too full, that's when they start getting really mad. And
they get puffed up, and then explosions happen, and no one wants that.
Yeah, I'd rather you have a battery that was too low to where you can't charge it, and you just lost the battery, versus it sitting there just full charge.
Exploding,
So that's probably the biggest, most important thing to check is just kind of monitor your battery. But aside from that, we hope this helped you guys out a little bit. I know we kind of covered a lot real quick. But anything else you need to know, feel free to comment here.
If you want,
message us.
If you want certain videos, like I know me and Kyle have talked about doing a video just on setting gear mesh. Different ways to set gear mesh. We're doing a video of how to rebuild shocks and diffs. So some other stuff like that you guys would like to see, let us know.
Yeah, general setup stuff even we're going to get into. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.